Emily has a question. I recently received a candle magic kit from you and performed the spell a couple of weeks ago. Any tips on when, if it might become effective, or anything I can do to help it along? It's a come to me spell. All right. So if you look at my website under instruction, I have how-to guides. Those are more detailed information, not quite a book length, but probably a flyer of a couple pages. Maybe it would be a zine length. So I have an oil how-to guide. I have a sachet powder how-to guide. I've got a bath crystals how-to guide. I've got a personal concerns how-to guide, even something I don't sell. Personal concerns are things that are off your body, but teaching you information about these things. And there is a candle how-to guide. And the candle how-to guide is probably the longest one because there's a lot of information about candles. In fact, so much I wrote a book about it. So if you go to that candle how-to guide and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you will see information about what do I do with my candle remains, how do I interpret those remains, I think it's in there, a little bit about that, and also when do I see my results. So with a candle spell, see, a candle spell is a different kind of spell because it's opening up a big rocket of power toward one goal. It's like pushing it really strongly. Has a different energy than something like a honey jar or something like a mojo bag or something like a spell where you're doing something over time every day until you get the result. So if you're doing one of those spells like a mojo bag or honey jar, you're doing that spell in the mojo bag, you're carrying the mojo bag until you get the result, right? So you just do it every day until you get the result. With your specific case, Emily, I don't know because I don't know what your situation is. I don't know how blocked this relationship is. A come to me spell, for example, if you're using the come to me spell to get somebody to move across the country to see you, it's probably going to take some time just because of the material world situation. Flights are limited. It's not recommended that you go on a flight. Hard to get a new apartment closer to you. People aren't showing apartments. So there's some real world stuff out there that's maybe preventing that. But I don't know what your situation is. So if you're doing a come to me spell to get someone's affection, the first thing you have to note, or any candle spell, let's just say any across the board, any candle spell. The first thing you have to note is you're going to not start the intention or not start, you're not going to expect to see the result before the candle work is complete. Sometimes, extremely rarely, we see movement before the candle spell is even done. That sometimes happens, but I would say that happens in maybe 1 or 2% of candle spells, maybe not even that. 1% of candle spells does the manifestation happen while you're burning the candle. So it's not that it never happens, but we can say virtually it isn't expected that while you're burning the candle you're going to see a result. If you do, it's a super good sign. If you see something moving or a message or something while you're burning the candle, that's a really good sign. So we have 3 markers, the 3 M's: messages, movement, and manifestation. And we look at those 3 markers over time. So to have a spell, let's say you're doing a love spell and you complete your candle for your love spell work, we're going to look at 3 markers: 3 days, 3 weeks, and 3 months. So within 3 days-ish, you don't have to be, anal about it. 3.5 days. Oh my God, it came 3.5 days, or it came on the 4th day. It's so 3 days is our general marker. 3 days, we should see some kind of message from the universe. Well, you have to know what a message from the universe is. A message from the universe is not the person calling you. That's something else that we're going to talk about next. A message from the universe is, I'm seeing 222 everywhere. That's a message from the universe. Or my lover's name is Susie and I saw the name Susie on a billboard I was driving by. That's a message from the universe. I heard our favorite song on the radio. That's a message from the universe, right? It is not coming from the person. It is not coming from the source, but it is the universe giving you an affirmation that your work is on track. Okay? That message you should see within the first few days of completing a spell. We'll say a few days, instead of 3 days, a few days. If you get that road marker, you're in good shape. If you don't, you might have to go back and do a different spell, or do a different kind of spell, or do the spell over again. Depends. But within 3 days of completing your candle, within a few days, you should see that message. The second marker that you're looking for is within a few weeks. Within a few weeks, you should get movement. Movement isn't your final culmination. Movement is something is improving in that situation. If you're doing a job getting spell and you get someone calling you in for an interview, that's movement. Even if you don't get the job, they called you in for an interview, that's movement toward getting a job. Your beloved likes something on Instagram and they never like anything you post, that's movement. A text message saying, hey, when they haven't been texting you is movement. So we see movement in the right direction within a few weeks of completing that spell. Finally, manifestation, the final culmination of what you're wanting within a few months. Now, when I say within a few months, sometimes people go like, it's going to take 3 months for my spell to come to fruition. It might take 3 months, but it might take a day. It depends on how blocked the situation is. It depends on how much work this needs. It depends on like what's going on in the world, right? So when we're looking at manifestation, it can happen, any of these can happen between 1 day and a few days, 1 day and a few weeks, 1 day and a few months, anywhere in that spectrum. The reason we say a few months is because sometimes new people, new to doing magic, sometimes think it's like bewitched. I twitch my nose and the house is clean. Still working on that spell, by the way, trying to figure out how to clean my house by twitching my nose. That would be a really good one. Anyway, if you have the expectation that you're going to put in an intention for love to come into your life, or you're going to get a job, and then you finish your spell work and you're like, there's no job, then you'll get into a place of doubt. Then you'll get into a place of it's not working. You'll start to pull the energy back from your spell. That's not good. Never do you want to pull the energy back. Pulling the energy back is like, I'm going to do this spell for prosperity. It's not working. That's pulling that energy back in. You're not pushing it back out there. You got to go, I have faith in it. It's working. It's working behind the scenes. It's all going to come true for me. It's all going to work for me. Everything is going to work out for me. That push forward is what helps and supports your spell getting out there and getting done. All right. So when you do a love spell and you're like, I'm not seeing anything right away, it's like, oh, okay. First, I got to look for a sign. All right. I saw my sign. Great. All right. That gives you that little encouragement. So now, okay, now I'm looking for some movement. Oh, my person reached out to me. My person liked something on my Facebook. I called them and they called me back, or whatever. Positive movement in the right direction. And then final culmination of what it is that you're wanting within 3 months. If at any point you don't get one of those markers, you don't hit one of those markers, you don't get a message, you don't get a movement, or you don't get the manifestation, then what that's saying is that you need to go back and approach it a different way. Get a reading, see what's going on with the situation. Did you get the right spell? Like maybe there's a spell that you think, oh, I want to come to me spell, but maybe something to influence their thinking might be better, or maybe something to open up the roads might be better, or maybe something to pull in your own self-love and to give yourself more magnetism is what's needed. So you might have to approach it in a different way, because it's not one size fits all. Trust your intuition though. You chose a come to me spell, trust that come to me spell, put it out there, have that intention that your lover is going to come to you, and then let it do its thing. Don't pull the energy back by doubting it. Don't pull the energy back by going, are we there yet? Come on, lady, get my spell going. It's like it needs to marinate, and it's going to marinate as much as it needs to marinate, depending on how stuck your situation is. An easy situation will turn around quickly. A more tangled ball of yarn might need more than one thing worked on spiritually. So just see how you do and see how it works over the next 3 months. If you want to support it by doing other work at the same time, like, it doesn't mean you have a choice. You can sit and wait for the spell to work over 3 months and just sort of sit and see, have confidence. I did my spell and I'm going to just wait and see that final culmination, that final outcome, that manifestation that I'm wanting. Or you can be, I did my spell, but I still feel like I want to do something else to help it along. Maybe I'll carry a mojo bag that will give me a sense of empowerment, or maybe I will put that, maybe I'll do some gratitude journal work where I'm writing down my gratitude journal every day. Anything can be there to support it. So it doesn't mean, sometimes people say, don't do more than one spell for a certain situation. I say that is not the issue. If you want to do 20 spells toward the same outcome, great. If your intention is, oh, good, that spell is working and I'm going to give it some more energy by doing some more spell work toward it, that's fine. But if what you're doing is going, oh, that spell didn't work, I have to do another spell, you're wasting your time, because you've already pulled back the energy from that other spell. And now you're going to do another one. And when that doesn't work, you're going to pull the energy back from that one. It's a waste of time and money at that point. So one spell sent out with a really clear positive intention and a peace and a trust in it is great. 10 spells sent out with peace and trust and faith in that they're going to work is also great. You can do as many or as few as you want. Okay, hopefully that answered your question.